Hey, this is Scott Ryder. Welcome to my YouTube channel, IWNQ, I Will Never Quit. Many of you know that I was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease almost 14 years ago. And life with Parkinson's certainly presents its challenges. And I early on adopted the attitude of I will never quit in my daily battle against Parkinson's disease. So the idea behind my YouTube channel is to inspire others that are facing battles, whether it be Parkinson's disease or anything else. I'm constantly on the lookout for other people that also exhibit that same IWNQ attitude. Today I'm excited to introduce you to Sam Bordner. Sam was a college baseball player who played for the University of Louisville, pitched in the College World Series, was drafted by the Miami Marlins. And Sam's had some setbacks himself. He's had Tommy John surgery, had some injuries, and 2 years out of college, he's still pursuing that dream of making Major League Baseball part of his daily life. I believe he'll do it, and the reason I believe that is Sam demonstrates the IWNQ attitude, I will never quit. I hope you enjoyed the video. This is a two-part series. Today will be part one. Part two will be coming soon, so make sure you subscribe, click on the bell so that you're alerted when the next episode comes about, and I look forward to seeing you for part two.
5 straight retired by Bordner. This should make it 6 in a row. Devin Mann at second base. And he puts the side down in order. Dan McDonald single-handedly keeping the bucket hat industry in business. Here's Logan Taylor tracking it down. 2 down as Kopetsky is retired. 2-2 the count to Pennington. Couldn't find it. And Bordner remains perfect in relief. That's his first strikeout of the game.
I think you probably illustrate the IWNQ lifestyle really well, and I want you to know you're following in some footsteps of some pretty cool people. Previously on my channel I've interviewed Brian Grant, who played for the Lakers and the Portland Trailblazers, spent 13 years in the NBA. I've interviewed Ryan Hall, who's a 2-time Olympian. I've interviewed Stephanie Bruce, who's probably one of the most decorated female distance runners in the United States of America. You're following some big shoes, dude. And all those 3 people that I just gave you examples of have illustrated in their lives the IWNQ, never quit. Brian Grant was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Ryan Hall went to school at Stanford and actually dropped out a year and went back. Thought he was going to be out of running. And Stephanie Bruce is age 36, and she's probably at the peak of her performance ability at age 36. So thanks for hanging out with me and chatting, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Yeah. So Big Sammy B.
Mm-hmm.
Who gave you that name?
It was me and one of my old buddies I went to in middle school with. His name was Tristan. We were looking for Twitter names, and that's what we came up with.
So you've had a Twitter account since middle school?
Something like that. I mean, I don't really use it that much, but...
Well, you know, you have 1,350 followers. Did you know that?
I don't.
Why,
Didn't know that.
why do you think somebody would... that's a lot of followers. What do you think it is about you that people find you interesting?
I don't know. Maybe it's just the baseball lifestyle that I've kind of taken on over my life. A lot of it is either young children who look up to me, or some like men like your age or my father's age that want to just keep in touch and follow along with what I do.
Cool. I read a little bit about you and it said you're 6'5", 228. Now, I don't know where you are today, but I know that your mom was a good athlete. Am I right? A good collegiate athlete. She played basketball at Ashland, am I right?
Yep.
And so I wondered, if I consider your parents, your mom and your dad, as far as traits, personality traits, skills, what traits do you think you get from your mom? What traits from your dad? Or are you just a unique person?
I don't know. That's a hard answer right there. Definitely, probably a lot of the traits that I get are from my father. My father's more of like a perfectionist, so I kind of get that from him. But my mom, I mean, she knows, she's experienced it all. She knows exactly what I've been going through, and she's the one who pushes me the most, in my opinion.
So let's talk about where you are today. You graduated from the U of L. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's a big deal. So where are you today?
So,
I know you're with the Marlins.
So I'm with the Marlins, but technically I haven't really been with a team yet. This would have been my first healthy season. But since COVID came around and the season is postponed until further notice, I haven't really found my role in the organization yet. If you look at the roster, I would have made our short season team because I was supposed to be ready to go by the end of last season, but I had a couple of setbacks.
So you've had a few challenges.
Couple of them.
So we're talking about the IWNQ. I'm sure along the way sometimes you've questioned yourself and thought, maybe it's not meant to be, or man, this is just frustrating.
Absolutely. I've thought that multiple times within the past 2 years of rehab I've gone through. But mostly, I mean, my father's the one who's been my rock the entire time. I always talk to him whenever I have doubts or anything, and he's the one who's helped me the most throughout this process.
Nutrition. How much attention do you pay to nutrition?
A lot, especially in the off season, because I actually have time to cook my own meals and everything. I can plan out what I want to do, and now I actually have I'm a little more financially stable. I can actually go out and buy my own things versus relying on the old folks for it.
So on Twitter, and how can people find you on Twitter? Where are you? What's your handle?
It's at BigSammyB_13.
At BigSammyB_13. One of the things you mentioned on Twitter is when you came home, I think you said something like you were bullied by the dogs. What's that all about? So you haven't been living at home since college, because you've been pursuing this dream of making.
So I've been in and out of home here. So I lived in Cincinnati over the fall and the winter time, because that's where I train and pitch and throw and everything to get ready for the upcoming season. I came here about a month and a half before spring training in the February time frame. And, the first day I was here, they were gone for, I think it was either Mayor Trey's hockey tournament. And so I was the only one here, and first time I get to see the dogs, and they got a little 4-pound Yorkie and a 7-pound
And they bullied 6'5", 228 Sam Bordner. Let's tweet about that. That's awesome. That's a great story.
Yep.
Hey, do you remember, I've heard a legendary story, and I don't know if you were involved in it. I call it the car in the pond story.
Yeah.
Was that you?
That was me.
Tell us about the car in the pond story. How old were you?
I think I was either 13 or 14 when that happened.
And exactly what happened?
The old man wanted us to clean out the garage.
So your dad.
And so he wanted me to call him, and he'll teach me how to get the car out of gear and push it out. It was a 2003 Mustang Cobra.
2003 Mustang Cobra. So
uh,
you're charged with cleaning out the garage, and what happened?
At the old house that I lived at, the driveway was just ever so bit slanted, and we pushed it out, caught the hill, couldn't stop it.
And so as the story goes, you called your dad. Now I'm a dad, and I've been frustrated with my kids at different times. And I've always been impressed by how your dad responded. At least that's how he tells me he responded. Give you a hard time? What did he do?
He gives me a hard time about it now, but at the time, I mean, I was terrified. I didn't know what to do. I mean, that was his car. That was his baby at the time, and I had ruined it. So I was actually super scared, and he just kind of gave me a big hug and told me it was okay.
That's
he
pretty
can fix
cool.
it or buy a new one.
You know, that's what I call a life lesson if you want to know how to be a good dad. I think your dad illustrated why he's such a good dad. Tell us about some of the awards that you won.
But my sophomore year, I won an All-American, a 13 All-American. Honestly, the greatest thing was just going to the College World Series.
So you pitched in the College World
I
Series.
did twice.
So that's
Thank
a
you.
big deal. Any sport in the world other than baseball, if you could be the best in the world, number one in the world in that sport, what would it be?
Definitely golf.
Golf.
Because you could play that until you're 60, 70
That's
years
true.
old, making millions of dollars a year. And it's that one sport that is so hard that people are in awe that you're good at it, whatever you are.
When you were growing up, is there a certain baseball player or somebody that you really looked up to?
I looked up to Randy Johnson a lot, a big, tall lefty pitcher.
Let's talk about just some fun things. You said you're into nutrition, but would there be a candy that would be like your favorite candy if you had to pick one?
If you were to ask me that question in college, I would have said Milky Way.
Okay.
Not saying this is a bad thing, but I lived with a host family and I was playing in the Cape Cod,
Yeah.
and they bought me a pack of like 56 Milky Ways.
How long did those last?
And I ate them within a week, and I just ate myself sick of them. And so now I can't look at it because I ruined it for myself.
You'd go right back to that point in time.
And so if I were to pick one right now, it'd probably be like a Kit Kat.
Do you have a favorite holiday?
Favorite holiday? Anytime I'm with my family is my favorite
That's
holiday.
awesome.
I missed Easter this year, and that was rough because I didn't have any family to be with.
What about music?
Really, any music, really.
So you're diverse. You like the
I like it
stuff
all,
from your
yeah.
parents' age right up to the.
No, it's kind of seasonal, I guess. Sometimes I got in a big kick over last summer of classic rock. It's
Okay.
like Motley Crue,
Cool.
Guns N' Roses, and Kiss,
Okay.
all that. I don't. It just really depends.
Sure.
It's very seasonal.
All right, we're going to play a game called Fill in the Blank.
Okay.
The one thing my parents always said was,
Stay humble.
stay humble. That's good advice for any of us. And this is the first time I've ever talked to Sam, and I will tell you, I believe that he illustrates that. All right, if you were president of the United States, the first thing you would do would be what?
Right now,
Right now.
in the lockdown.
In the quarantine. He wants
we
to
can-
play ball.
So we can play some ball.
All right, when I went to college, Sam Bordner, the thing that surprised you the most was?
The amount of work that it took to play and to get ready for a season.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I always said, having participated in a college sport at the Division I level a long time ago, I couldn't imagine what it'd be like to go to college and not be in a sport. You'd have so much time.
Absolutely.
So I think
Like right now, I don't know what to do with myself. 'Cause
Right.
I'm so used to being on such a strict schedule of from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Don't you think that structure kind of helped in a way?
It did, absolutely.
Yeah. If money was not a factor, I would.
I don't know. I haven't retired. See, my goal is, it's not really financially driven.
I
It's
understand.
more of, it's goal driven. I mean, my goal is to make it and try to be one of the best Major League Baseball players to ever be. So I haven't really put my mind to anything else,
It's fair.
to be honest.
Do you have a favorite movie of all time?
I got a couple.
What would they be? Give me-
Shawshank Redemption,
Okay.
which is, I mean, that's kind
That's
of,
deep.
that is Law-Abiding Citizen.
Okay.
I just watched this new one a couple months ago. It's called Perks of Being a Wallflower. It's a lot different, but it's really meaningful.
Okay.
There's one more that I'm more into TV shows, to be honest.
Well, like, what's your favorite TV show?
Game of Thrones,
Okay.
Ozarks that just came out. Ozarks is a great show. I just watched this one. It's called Waco, and I don't know if you
Is that
remember.
a documentary?
It is a documentary.
Yeah, I know
I
about
don't know if you remember that religious group in
Yeah.
Waco, Texas,
I
and
do.
all that happened.
David Koresh, is
Mhm.
that his name? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was strange, wasn't
That
it?
was.
The ATF agents came
Mhm.
crashing in there.
Mhm.
Did you watch that documentary there? He's been talking about Tiger.
Yeah, Tiger King.
So here's a little aside for you. I don't know because I didn't watch it, but my family watched it. One of the guy that didn't go to prison, the other guy, I don't know what his name is.
Jeff Lowe.
Yeah, he set up in Beaufort, South Carolina, which is where I live,
Really?
just about 3 miles from where we
didn't know that.
are living. So kind of a small world. So let's talk a little bit about where you are with baseball right now today. I know you just had an MRI Friday, and the results were good in that they didn't show anything bad going on. And so you're starting to work through rehab. You've had Tommy John surgery, what, 2 years ago?
It'll be 2 years this June that I've had it.
So you hope to start throwing when?
Next week, hopefully.
So do they call that flat throwing? Is that what you call that? Or what is flat throwing?
You got the normal outfield throwing, which is what you see everybody do. They kind of throw it far. It's called, and then there's a flat ground, which is where
Flat, that's probably what I'm
the
referring
pitchers are pitching, but not off the mound.
Not a mound, because it's less stress.
They're working on their pitches, their mechanics, and everything, and then they go on the mound, which is the bullpen.
That's cool. So you're probably excited.
I am. I was there for 3 weeks in spring training this past March, and just participating again. It
Probably
was
felt
so
really
much
good.
fun. It
Yeah.
was just so much fun just to participate.
So I just want to tell you, we're interviewing you, but I want to tell you just one thing about myself. So I ran track in college. I was an All-American twice.
Yep.
Big Ten champion 3 times. But what you don't know is I finished second in the Big Ten 5 times. That's not easy to do.
Yeah. So
But I say, Sam, that the lessons I learned from my defeats taught me way more than I've learned from my victories.
Absolutely.
And I think what I learned from those defeats is that when I finished second, I had a choice: quit, give up, or try to get better. And it really wasn't until my senior year that I won my individual event twice in 800 meters. Would you kind of say the same thing? Do you feel like you've learned more from your defeats than you have your victories?